right now, this is like the AI today is like the internet before we worried about cyber. It was a time when things were simply growing, people were adopting it and putting into things. AI is not, AI is fragile. It isn't as good as you think it might be. It takes a lot of work. It doesn't always tell you what you think it will. It doesn't always do things that are the things you would like it to do. And so as we think about that, if you really want to use it for things that matter, we have to think about how it can be fooled, how it, whether we know it's doing the right thing. And the emerging technologies that I worry about and think about include kind of the adversarial side. You can fool facial recognition today in very simple ways. You can fool sensors and detectors. If we know how machine learning has been applied to data, you can trick it to not do what you think it's going to do. There is an adversarial side which is reminiscent of cybersecurity and the internet that we have the opportunity to shape right now. If we're going to be making decisions in AI, the emergent piece, there is a huge international private sector engine now driving that in just about every economic sector. And so there is kind of a rich world of entrepreneurs and intellectual horsepower developing cutting edge things. But here at the department, we're worried about right decisions, and how do we know that the data is what you think it is, and how do you know that you really are looking at what you think you're looking at. The more you can't simply blindly trust it, and the technologies that will emerge to ensure that you actually know what you're doing will have to be developed, and that's what I think about the most, because there isn't that much of a market to do that. We tolerate a lot of wrong decisions from our AI today. You turn the corner using Waze or your traffic app, and there's traffic there, or the road doesn't exist, and that's happened to me. And you say, okay, well, it's not perfect, but if you're making a decision that is really impactful, you have to know how certain you are. It can't just be pretty good on average. You have to guarantee exactly how good it is, and pushing the limits of understanding of artificial intelligence so that it can really make, we can make headway on decision support when we're just buried in data, is going to be something we're likely going to have to push forward on alone or with whoever else wants to help. And so the emergent technologies that I think about the most are those that will provide us the guarantees. There is something called explainable AI, for example. It is a field where people are trying to explain if you came to a decision from data, how do you trace how the decision was made? And that's not what I'm talking about, because there are a lot of places, for example, in recent articles this year, even in cancer therapy, where we're looking at an image, you could conclude that something was cancerous or it was not. 95% yes or 95% no, just by changing a few pixels which are invisible to the human. And that's a common problem in many different AI domains, but this is one that appeared in the press. It's no surprise, it's just how fragile it is. Either case, you could explain exactly how you got to the right or wrong decision with clarity. But in either case, you can't say exactly how good you are. Because I can tell you why you were wrong with great specificity. This is how the data came to that decision. I could tell you why you were right with the same likelihood, and you have no idea how to decide which one is right. And that's where we're at today. AI is fragile. There's going to have to be a lot of horsepower pushed to understanding what it means. And those are the kinds of technologies that in the end will make an important impact on us and I think on government.